pleasant day to each and everyone. I am Eleazar Chavez and I am one of the reporters to discuss the Philippine professional standards for teachers. So before anything else, I would like to apologize for the background noises you can hear. So it is finalized and agreed by the DepEd regional directors, central office directors, and the representatives. So formerly referred to as the Developmental National Competency-Based Teacher Standards, or the NCBTS. So my task is to introduce the concept of the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers and to answer the question what and why of the PPST. But before that, I would like to further explain or discuss the transition from the DNCBTS to the current Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers. So as I have said earlier, the DNCBTS stands for Developmental National Competency-Based Teacher Standards. Prior to July 2012 genesis of the DNCBTS project, stakeholders raised concerns about the NCBTS. So they respond positively to the ideas of a developmental set of professional teacher standards. So, considerations of the DNCBTS project. Among the recommendations were suggestions to revise the NCBTS. Considerations raised were: first, develop career stages. Second, to ensure that the duplication in NCBTS was reduced. The third one is that to give content knowledge and pedagogy a more prominent focus. The fourth one is to embed new ideas from the K-12 reform in the standards. And last is to develop professional standards in a form that is tighter and more usable by teachers, schools, and jurisdictions, and in the case of Commission of Higher Education, to develop a more focused basis for an internationally acceptable pre-service teacher preparation program and a teacher education institution, or the TEI Quality Assurance Framework. So, general information on Department Order Number 42, Series of 2017, the National Adoption and Implementation of the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers. So, DepEd number 42, Series of 2017, Secretary Briones signed into policy DepEd Order number 42, Series of 2017, the National Adoption and Implementation of the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers. So, from the NCBTS, we have now the PPST, or the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers. So, what is the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers? So, it is a public statement of professional accountability. So, it has 4 career stages: the beginning, proficient, highly proficient, and the distinguished. It has 7 domains, 37 strands, and 37 indicators for each career stage. So, the professional standards for teachers articulates what constitutes teacher quality. So, it also makes explicit what teachers should know and be able to do and value in the profession, as well as it is sufficiently generic to represent practice. So, why is there a need to revise the NCBTS to the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers? The DepEd Order 42, Series of 2017, the PPST sets clear expectations of teachers along well-defined career stages of professional development from beginning to distinguished practice. It engages teachers to embrace ongoing professional learning for their professional development to enhance their own teaching. Also, it provides a framework of uniform measures to assess teacher performance, and it provides a basis for building public confidence in and support of the work for teachers. So, the PPST, the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers, shall be used as a basis for all learning and development programs for teachers to ensure that they are properly equipped to effectively implement the K-12 program. It can also be used for the selection and promotion of teachers. And lastly, all performance appraisals for teachers shall be based on this set of standards. So later on, my co-reporters will talk about the 4 career stages and the 7 domains of the Philippine Professional Standards for teachers.
The Philippine Professional Standards for Teacher complement the reform initiative on teachers' quality such as the K-12 reform, the Philippine Qualification Framework, ASEAN integration and internalization, and the changing characters of the 21st century skills. The standards define what the teachers need to know, be able to do, and value in their profession, from undergraduate preparation to leadership in the teaching profession. It supports teachers to know where they are in terms of practice, what are expected of them, and how they can reach to the next level. Under the PPST, there is Teacher Professional Development Framework, or what we call the career path of a teacher. There are 4 career stages. First is the beginning teachers, second is the proficient teachers, third is the highly proficient teachers, and fourth is the distinguished teachers. Beginning teachers are those who are beginner in the teaching profession. They are qualified in the pedagogy because they have learned and studied it. They are expected to demonstrate knowledge and understanding of teaching principles and teaching strategies. Proficient teachers are categorized as an independent teacher who actively know the skills of teaching and learning process. They know how to manage effectively the learning programs that makes the students' needs. Highly proficient teachers are teachers who is labeled as high-level performance. They accomplish the high education focus situation, they provide advice, and they support to colleagues. Distinguished teachers are those who are achieve high standards in teaching learning process. They are considered as global competitive teacher because they are able to inspire other colleagues and create lifelong learnings to each and every individual. What are career stages important? According to OECD 2005, the description of standards at different career stages provides a framework for the teacher development continuum. While according to Darling-Hammond in Strauss 2012, teachers should be based on professional teaching standards and should be sophisticated enough to assess teaching quality across the continuum of development from novice to expert teacher.
Now let us proceed to the 7 domains of PPST. First one, we have the content knowledge and pedagogy. Under this, we have content knowledge and its application within and across curriculum areas. Of course, as a teacher, we have to be competent with the subject and have the mastery of the lesson. Second, we have research-based knowledge and principles of teaching and learning. We are expanding our knowledge through research. Third, under the content knowledge and pedagogy, we have the positive use of ICT. Of course, we are in the 21st century. That's why technology is very important. Next, we have strategies for promoting literacy and numeracy. This will help the students to be competent in real-life situations. Next, we have strategies for developing critical and creative thinking, as well as other higher order thinking skills. Lastly, under the first domain of PPST, we have the mother tongue, Filipino and English teaching and learning. Of course, language is important because it is the medium for teaching. Now for the second domain of PPST, we have learning environment. And under this, we have learner safety and security. We have to ensure a hazard-free classroom and with no chaos and conflicts. Next, we have fair learning environment. Of course, we should avoid favoritism and bias inside the classroom. Next, we have management of classroom structure and activities. As a teacher, we have the sense of authority inside the classroom. That's why we need to establish good classroom management. Next, we have support for learner participation. For them to be encouraged in participating inside the classroom, we need to give incentives or positive comments. Next, we have promotion of purposive learning. Of course, we need to let the students know what is the purpose of the lesson or the subject that we are teaching to them. And last one, under the second domain, is the management of learner behavior. Of course, as a teacher, we will encounter different personalities and attitudes of students, and this will lead us to the third domain, which is diversity of the learners. Under this domain, we have learners' gender, needs, strengths, and interests and experiences. Second, we have learners' linguistic, cultural, socio-economic, and religious backgrounds. Next, we have learner with disabilities, giftedness, and talents, learners' difficult circumstances, learners from indigenous groups, and all of this, knowing all of this will help us further understand the students and make us aware of the teaching strategies or methods that will be used for the effectiveness of the learning of the students. Next, we have the fourth domain, which is curriculum and planning. And under this, we have planning and management of teaching and learning process. Here, we can insert the importance of lesson plan. We are planning ahead of time for the lesson proper. Next, we have learning outcomes aligned with learning competencies. Our lessons as a teacher should be aligned with the DepEd curriculum. Next, we have the relevance and responsiveness of learning programs, professional collaboration to enrich teaching practice, of course, collaboration or the communication with our co-workers. Last one, we have teaching and learning resources, including ICT. Still using technology because of the changing generation, we have to cope up with it. Now for the fifth domain of PPST, we have assessment and reporting. And under this, we have design, selection, organization, and utilization of assessment strategies. We have diverse teaching strategies for diverse students. Next, monitoring and evaluation of learner progress and achievement. Of course, as a teacher, it is our responsibility to assess or monitor if our students are developing or not. Next, we have the feedback, which is to improve learning by talking to our students. Next, we have communication of learner needs, progress, and achievement to key stakeholders. These stakeholders are the parents of the students. We should let them know the progress or the developments and achievements as well as the needs of the students in our classroom. Next, we have use of assessment data to enhance teaching and learning progress and programs. Here, we should not rely with our emotions and personal bias in assessing the students. It should be based on their scores and performances inside the classroom. Now, for the sixth domain of PPST, we have community linkages and professional engagement. Under this, we have the establishment of learning environments that are response to community contents, engagement of parents and the wider school community in the educative process, professional ethics, which includes the codes of ethics, school policies, and procedures. As a teacher, we should be the role models for the students in following the policies and procedures inside the school. And lastly, we have the personal growth and professional development. Under this domain, we have the philosophy of teaching, our own educational philosophy, which will serve as our direction along the process of our teaching career. Next is the dignity of teaching as a profession, professional links with colleagues, of course. This is important, the communication with our co-workers. Next is the professional reflection and learning to improve practice. Of course, it is not only the students that we should assess, it's also ourselves if we are being effective as a teacher or not. And next we have professional development goals.